All right. So with that said, I would like to invite Sami to the stage. So I'll just bring here. So while I read Sami's official bio, so I'll just have this and I'll stop sharing so we can see everyone better. So Sami is a technology executive with over 35 years experience at a variety of industries spanning multiple continents as a CIO, as an MD, and a consultant. Sami's qualifications include a Bachelor of Computer Engineering, an MBA, master's degree on quality management. He's also a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors, and he sits in a couple of boards and board committees. Sami was with Bupa for 17 years and part of Bupa's Apex executive team. 7 years as the Apex CIO. He managed all the technology operations and transformations programs across Asia Pacific and was responsible for delivering high quality, reliable, and performance enhancing technology service across Bupa. Sami also served Bupa as an interim managing director for Bupa's health services, managing Bupa's health services last year in 2022. So during his time at Bupa, he led the transformation of technology department, delivered a significant number of transformation programs. And Sami is also, on top of all that, sitting on strategic advisory boards at Optus, cybersecurity advisory board of Deakin University, digital board subcommittee of Your Town Kids Helpline. And he's a board member of large school groups and various community working groups, non-for-profit organizations with the real genuine intention to contribute to society. So as I already mentioned, he was named #1 Australian CIO of the Year last year in 2022 by CIO 50, and also ranked as #3 and #15 in prior to that. So such an honor, Sami. Thanks again. Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Natalie, and hi everyone again.
So how about, Sami, we start with, I know that I read your formal bio, right? And I asked you for a bit of a fun fact as well. So how about you start by telling us, a little bit more about your journey to become, a tech executive. You've been around for a while, and look forward to listen about all your wisdom and your stories. But yeah, let's start with your journey. How did you get here?
Yeah. Look, firstly, thank you everyone for being here, especially after such a long days and lots of pressure around you. So rather than just laying down on your couch and enjoying the evening, being here tells a lot about your commitment, about you want to do a better job than you do. And for me, not also telling, but also learning from you as well this evening. My professional life actually has almost like two parts, and two parts repeating each other, because I started life after graduation as a young engineer, as a developer. And when I came to Australia 20 years ago, same thing happened, because my English was very, very weak. The first thing I found out, I don't understand people. I thought I knew English, but nowhere near I have any idea what they were talking about. So I have to start life from scratch again. So in my first part, while I wasn't bet on technology, that wasn't my passion. I always interested in what are we doing here, what's the big game, how we can contribute customers and the organization I work for. So I always find myself customer-facing people leadership roles, and most of the time in almost like a silly way, being a braveness. Sometimes you need some naiveness to be brave enough. Putting my hands to do things I never done before. I have no idea how to do it. And somehow I jump to sea, like without knowing how to swim, but that's the best way and the quickest way to learn. And I find myself leading large programs, large projects, and eventually large departments and large organizations. So I'm originally from Turkey, and in my probably last 7-8 years in Turkey, I was part of big companies' executive team, leading big programs. But after a huge economical crisis in Europe at that time, and we had 3 children, we thought maybe time for a change. And we decided to come to Australia, as offering migration, citizenship, and lots of other positives about Australia. And as I said, I have to start life from scratch again. So I hardly find a new graduate job here, learn technology again, because after being a leader so many years and technology moved very fast, you have to learn a lot and learn English. And this is how I started. And this is how I started Bupa as well, 17 years ago. But luck was with me. Obviously, you have to work hard, but you also need luck. So Bupa grows significantly, and every 6 months or 12 months, I get a promotion, again, putting my hand to do things I never done before. And pretty much got these promotions and start managing the whole application portfolio, then infrastructure, which I never done before in my life, and being part of the executive team. And end of last year, finished with Bupa, which was the year I was managing director for health services for Bupa. And I was thinking what to do, some kind of a break, spend some time with my family in Turkey. And unfortunately, like one way I'm grateful I did this because I spent a really, really good quality time with my mother. I'm the only child, always felt guilty being here as a migrant and leaving her alone. And after I returned back last month, in 2 weeks' time, she got a heart attack and passed away. So I was there the last couple of weeks just to dealing with all the paperwork, funeral. Obviously, sad moment, but also I was grateful I have done this. So if you are asking any messages from me tonight, that never ever delay anything you think you should do. This is time to do it, to take action. I think that's my biggest lesson. I'm glad I have done it and spending that time with my mother. So this is my short story, Nat.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. And thanks for disclosing. No, I was aware of your loss, and we spoke while you're there, reorganizing things. And I think it shows, part of who you are, Sami, very approachable, very open, and yeah, wonderful story. Thank you. And I love your point around bravery, saying yes to things that you're not sure, having that courage and starting again. I totally relate with, I think the migrants we had, Rahul last roundtable, who was also from South America. And I think that's something that we all experience as migrants as well. Thank you.
Sure.
Wonderful. So next, I know that, we had a couple of chats, Sami, there's so much we could cover, but shall we talk about purpose?
Sure.
Yes.
I didn't have the most luckiest childhood. Unfortunately, I lost my father when I was 4. I get a stepfather. Unfortunately, she has bankrupt a couple of times miserably. It's a very, very hard time. All my childhood. And at that time, I said, I'll work hard, not let any other children suffering like this. So I set up my life purpose as making a positive difference in people's life. So this is what drives me, regardless of what I do in a community activity with my family or in a professional setup. I look from that perspective, how can I contribute people's lives, organizational lives, which eventually serves people again. That's my life purpose, Nat.
Very clear. Very clear. Thank you, Sami, for sharing again. In terms of, here in the Mindful CIO community, we champion self-care, and my own experience nearly, having burnout back in my consulting days. So self-care is something that we really like to highlight. So what would you say that is your, routine or ritual, something that you do when you need to recharge, reset, recharge your batteries, or a self-care ritual if you have a routine or something, Sami?
Sure. Look, my number one is gratitude. I try to be positive through gratitude and apply some spiritual care through my life, through worship, reaching out to other people, try to help them. Because sometimes when you are too much focused on yourself, everything starts being really big. But once you go out and deal with other people's problems and seeing what people are going through, you realize that your problems are not that big. It also gives you strength to dealing with your own issues, your own problems, seeing other pain points and helping them is a real care for me because this way I got my energy. Sometimes people ask me like, how you are getting time, so many boards and so many other activities. So when are you resting? And my answer is I am resting while I'm doing those things because that's where I get my energy. So yeah, gratitude is number one, and living the spiritual life is my answer, Nat.
Good. Thanks, Sami. Of course, the mindful CIO community, something that we also champion is this idea of mindful leadership. Some people will say, well, Natalie, mindful leadership, servant leadership, compassionate leadership, what's the difference? They are very, very connected. But when you hear the words mindful leadership, Sami, what does that mean for you? What comes to mind for you?
Sure. Look, I think mindfulness can be applicable all phases of life, regardless of roles as a leader, as a father, mother, brother, you name it, as a citizen. It's really being aware of and conscious of what you are doing, where you are spending your time, your energy, and keep asking yourself, what's my state at the moment and what I am doing? If you think about in the leadership concept, you have all these stakeholders around you. It's your organization, it's shareholders, it's your people you are leading, it's your customers. And you have to balance your energy and what you are giving back to this community. Make sure you are not favoring one over others. So mindfulness is really keep testing yourself. Am I on the right direction based on my intention, based on my purpose, what I'm doing? And as leaders, sometimes we're really pulled by some pressing things, like whoever screams more gets what they want, or your time. It's really keep testing that. Am I on the right track? Am I spending my time and my energy on the right things? That's being mindful in my book. Nat, this is my definition.
Thanks, Sam. So that reflection, the self-inquiry, constantly checking in. Wow. Shall we shift gears and get you to walk us through your presentation, so we can kind of finish this conversation after that, Sami? Is that a good time to?
Sure. Why not? Why not? And look, it is hopefully will be interactive, and it's not a presentation, but sharing some of my findings and techniques, how I deal with those issues. And then we can discuss further or get the questions from the group. Because as I said, this group is a very high quality group. I don't think anything I'll say this group never heard or doesn't know. It's more about maybe hearing from me how I like utilize this information, knowledge, and turn them to some solutions. If you look at today's world, it's not the same before 2019, where the COVID came up towards the end of that year. Suddenly, we're faced with a pandemic no one was expecting. It changes the lives of people through health issues, through economical issues, and lockdowns and working from home, etc. And we never return back how it was before, which create a situation of significant health and especially mental health issues. This was always the case. The mental health is an unspoken big problem in Australia, especially in the workplace, but COVID really make it much, much bigger. And there are lots of research around it, and some of them are quite scary. Mental health is something people doesn't admit, or not necessarily they even themselves is aware something is going on. They just feel, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything, I'm bored, etc. But actually they're all symptoms of a mental health issue. A recent global study by Qualtrics found that 42% of the people experience a decline in mental health. It's like 4 in every 10. And these are the people just aware of this situation, and guess how many others not even aware of that. And when you come to the stress, they don't maybe talk about mental health. Actually, it comes to 67%, almost 70%, people experiencing increase in stress, which is increase in anxiety, they emotionally exhausted, half of the people, 50% of the people feeling sad, 50% of the people feeling irritable, and 1/3 of them having trouble in concentrating, 20% saying that it's taking longer to finish tasks, and 15% are saying that they have a trouble thinking, and they really challenge juggling their responsibilities. So stress and the relevant issues are real, and it's significant that we cannot just ignore. That means it's impacting our individual responsibilities and our workplace performance, actually. And interestingly, stress actually causes sleeping problems, So sleep is compromised when you are stressed, especially at work. And when people getting some rude emails, some rude behaviors, they experience this negativity and that spill over into their personal lives. And one of the research find that this is actually impacting their capability in parenting, being a father and mother.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sami, there, just for a sec. I already have a number of questions, but I don't want to interrupt with questions just yet. I just want to double check. Are we expecting to, were you planning to share the slides now? Because we are not sharing yet. Do you have any slides?
Yes, there's no slides for this,
Okay,
this part. And let me finish a few more statistics and we can start interacting and talking about, like I haven't seen the questions, but we can go through that. Another statistics I want to share with you is Academy of Management Journal also find out that these work-related stresses and the rudeness or receiving some harsh emails or the pressure on deadlines, etc., also impacting relation with the partners. So when we talk about stress and workplace-related stress, we are not talking about people are unhappy at work. Actually, they are not happy in their life because it is impacting the whole life. And when people are not happy at home, they bring it to the work as well. So it's a negative opportunity circle. And without fixing one, it's impossible to fix others. And obviously, as leaders, we can't do much about in people's personal lives, but we have a responsibility to deal with creating the right environment and reducing the stress and create an environment people can shine at the work environment. So this is why leadership is not just about delivering the best results for your business, because you can say, yes, this is why I hired for, I have a scorecard to deliver, I have goals, blah, blah. Yes, it's true. But to be able to do that, you need sustainable success, which you will be relying on individuals. Most of the people in this call are in IT, in technology, and we know that how difficult keeping and attracting talent and making these really smart people working together. So there are so many courses and they teach us how to write the best code and all the other things, but nobody teaches us how to work together. Which is really key for the success, how to collaborate, how to kind of constructively challenge each other to find the best ideas and being ahead of the competition. But we keep dealing with issues linked to the relationships or communication or influencing, you name it. So those are the things actually pulling us back. There is a research from CEB done a couple of years ago. They identified 12 key skills missing in technology teams causing failures in big transformation or big technology projects. And guess what? None of them are technology related skills. They all soft skills linked to the emotional intelligence, business knowledge, influencing communication, you name it. I'm happy to share with the group this research. And without addressing those gaps, it's impossible. Even you have the best technologies, best consultants organizations, like Lisa is here from Accenture, and most of the time I was at your side, Lisa, many years as well, at the consultancy side, and the companies so irresponsibly blaming this partner that because of this partner, this project failed, delayed exit, without thinking that how their environment actually causing these problems, causing this failure, while the same team delivering brilliant results maybe on other customers, because we don't look at the situation as a whole, how the culture, how the dynamics of that team actually contributing to success or failures. So this is why, as leaders, we need to think, what is the situation in my team, in my organization, as the culture? What are the norms? Do we have the right setup for people to collaborate, for people to communicate and deliver the best results? As a leader, you have a big responsibility personally, being open, honest, like a role model, etc. But when you are not around, especially if you are a big organization, how you will achieve it? You will achieve it through the culture you are setting up. And the culture will tell you what's accepted here, what are the norms here. And it will not magically happen by itself unless you really work on it, unless you're really serious about it and you keep talking about it, then it will start shaping up. And then when people join that organization, they say, now I got it. This is what's accepted here, what's not accepted, and they will follow. Or the other way around, if you don't really put focus on that. We generally really worry about the outcomes, project deadlines, etc., and keep pushing people to work hard. and then scratching the head, like, why we keep failing? Why everything takes so long? Why everything has a reason for failure, without addressing those kind of topics, those kind of issues. And the research is going on. If I share a few more, if you really address people's concerns at work, and if you're able to reduce the stress, which comes to an empathic leadership, because another recent research said that empathy identified the most important skill in leadership. This is about understanding people's needs, understanding their concerns, their motivation points, and able to motivate them through their personal goals, and able to get the whole team together, sharing those goals together and going through the same direction. And when you're able to do that through the empathy, the significant positive outcomes follows. Innovation significantly improves. The research says 61% of the employees who feel like they have an empathic leader, they are much better in terms of innovating and collaborating together. Engagement significantly increase. Retention goes up to 62%, as they feel like they never want to leave this organization because of the leader they follow, because of the culture they have. There is another research says 130 million people in the world today finishing the day every day with the feeling that their company and their leader doesn't care about themselves. This is equivalent to every 7 in 10 people. And think about these teams, this individual's engagement and productivity. Obviously, it's not. As a customer, you feel it when you serve by those people, and the company results are not superior because of that. And inclusivity and work-life balance, etc., everything significantly increases if you do the right things. So what is this magical formula? Yes, there are lots of frameworks, and I'll share one of them with you. However, leadership starts with being just as a human being. What a sensible human being will do in terms of caring and genuine care to your team, your organization, and your people. Believe me, even a 3-year-old child, when you approach them, will identify if you are genuine or not. And believe me, again, your team is much smarter than a 3-year-old one. So, like, being really genuine in your approach, caring your people, and balancing this with the company results and the customer, etc., is like a good blending. And showing them your good intention, they'll be much more open to you as well. Then the real conversations start at the team level, at the individual level. Without that, nothing will be happening. And this is the first level for trust as well, which we'll talk soon about it when I touch the model I share with you. Anyway, so this is my short summary. Stress really impacts productivity, and a bad culture really impacts the business outcomes. As a leader, there is nobody other than us set the tone, set the standards to make it at the right level. You mentioned about the questions. I haven't seen any, Natalie.
No questions just yet on the chat box. I mentioned that I had a few questions in my mind just listening to you the first 2 minutes, and I just want to double check that you were not expecting to show slides just yet.
Sure.
If anyone have a question for Sami, please feel free to enter in the chat, or maybe just unmute yourself and ask. I think, I could just, endorse everything that you said, Sami. I'll say it, but I like your point that customers, they do feel when employees are disengaged. It goes through. It's not just within the company, organization, customers, external stakeholders, they would pick on that as well. And I can help to think about, and I'm sure you're going to cover next, Sami, brand new CIOs, first time, second time CIOs, dealing with the competing priorities, all the technical issues. And now, I'm playing devil's advocate, of course. And now, on top of this, I need to look after my people, and we know the answer. Now, without looking after people, we don't really get, the results that we're after. But especially when the culture is not conducive, some cultures, some organizations, I think, my assumption is that had a really good culture. But that's another element. But there's also the influential skills and the ability to persuade, which you touched on. And I love the passion. You spoke with so much passion. It's clear that it's very strong. You're very strong about what you're talking about. But enough of me talking. Do we have any questions from anyone before Sami continues? Comments, observations, anything is welcome.
Yeah, I just feel it would have been good if my other teammates also were on this call. It's so beneficial, and Sami, really good advice. I had a question regarding the empathy part. Like, is there a blend of where, you can't just be empathetic for everything? Like, there should be some leadership or strong leadership there. Like, have you had to change or be less empathetic sometimes on certain projects or kind of thing, or it's just you've always been that way and it's worked for you?
So look, thank you for the question, Julian. Actually, I need to clarify. Being empathic doesn't mean just smiling everyone, being nice to everyone, and tolerating every failure. It's actually the other way around. People respect you more when you are fair. You might be tough, you might be keeping people accountable, but as long as you're fair, clear, people will respect you. And that's still empathic. So we need to understand what's the empathic leadership mean. Actually, the model I'll touch now, one of the very important part of it is keeping people accountable. And another part is making outcomes are very, very clear, crystal clear, and make sure everybody owns it, especially team level targets. Not everyone working for their own personal goals, but work for the organization and for the team's success and culture. And again, that empathy in terms of maybe looking what are the reasons this person is like failing or being behind, how we can help each other, like asking genuine questions and supplying all the support you can give is still empathy. But if someone is not learning and not playing the team game or not coming to the level based on lack of effort or lack of ethical values, etc., being empathic sometimes means making some hard decisions, actually, because you have to look the whole organization, the whole team. Sometimes one person can make the whole team down. So the empathic leadership also comes to that, making some hard decisions.
Thank you. That makes sense.
No worries. Maybe it's better I move on and shortly touch the model I want to touch as I utilize multiple years. And then we can keep the conversation going on. The model I will touch is Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. He published a book in 2002 about this model. He has been working the top 500 companies, implemented this model and became a significant success. And it has the theory very similar for some other theories dealing with this problem. So I'm sure you will find very familiar, or you might be that yourself. But it makes sense to me, and I utilize it multiple times in different setups and got really, really good success. So I just want to share what it is. But from the leadership perspective, everything I share with you, you need to keep in mind that you will be in the center of this thing. It's not about expecting things from the team. Actually, you are the first one to demonstrate what you expect and then others to follow. Let me get the screen. Here we go. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming. I can see it. Leader makes a different slide. Yes.
There we go.
Perfect. If you think all these balloons are leaders, which one you would like to be? Probably we all want to be the one really loved, really respected, the leader everyone wants to work for it. Because when people trust their leader, when they believe their leader, they want to follow. They are really, really committed. And many people, research shows that leave their organizations just because of the leader, not because of the organization. Obviously, the environment and many other factors can play a role, but leader is number one reason. People staying or people leaving. So we have to keep asking ourselves, am I that leader demonstrated here? Or am I just one of the leaders here? And we should really strive for the 100, because especially this group, like being here at this time of the day, you want to do better. So that means you have to be an exceptional leader. And being an exceptional leader starts with vulnerability, which is the biggest form of the courage. if you read Brown's-Breen's book about Dare to Lead, she touches vulnerability and she has significant research in this area. And most of the time people tell her that, courage and vulnerability, two opposite things. No, actually vulnerability is the biggest thing. You can be brave. And vulnerability really creates trust within an environment. That means you are open, honest, admitting your weaknesses, and not shy asking help, rather than I'm the leader, I should know everything better than others, I'm the best in this team. Not necessarily. And as you do it, you give permission others to not to be perfect and ask help. So this is where I will start, because the model heavily relied on vulnerability. So this is the Leoncinis model. Can we see this pyramid on the screen? Yeah.
Yes,
so
we can.
There are 5 levels in this model. Absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. So this model developed through multiple years, and the trust is the foundational part of it. So where you will start in a team if you really want a really highly engaged and very, very efficient team. Without the right level of trust in a team, you will never ever get the best results. So that's absolutely critical. So this is the most severe dysfunction that a team can have if there is no trust. So without trust, productive work, growth are almost impossible. So in this environment, if there is no trust, team members spend time and energy protecting themselves, undermining each other, instead of focusing on the work and the goals of the team. And in contrast, when they are willing to be open and vulnerable to the group, they trust that no one will attack them maliciously, which means they can spend their time and energy on the work at hand. So when there is no trust, they hold grudges, they don't ask for help, they don't admit mistakes, weaknesses, find ways to avoid spending time with each other. Versus when you create the trust through vulnerability and everyone open and honest to each other, then people more openly and honestly share the challenges. They will ask when they need help, and they will be able to talk each other. So that's an absolute necessity for any team setups. The second layer is the conflict. If there is no trust, you will never see a real conflict, and you really need conflict in terms of finding the right solution or the best solution. So people shouldn't be shy to challenge each other. Hang on a minute, I don't understand why you're asking for that, or I have a different view here. And after everybody says what they think and challenge each other, then you have a chance to find the right answer. Without that, everyone look for a harmony, follow whoever the strongest in the team, or looking the leader, what the leaders think, and just follow that so that leader is happy and everyone is happy. But doesn't mean you are doing the right thing, you have the best solution for that one. So you can check your team. If everyone agreeing with everyone else, avoiding the real issues to discuss in meetings, but team members talking about other people behind their backs after the meetings, then you have something missing over there. And as a leader, you have a role, first for the trust, as I said, you to show vulnerability, but from the conflict perspective, you really have to invite putting everyone's view on the table. When you see someone hasn't talked enough, you should say, John, I haven't heard from you yet. Can you please share your views on that? Or Jonathan, I see from your body language, you have some kind of a disagreement. Can you please tell us your concerns? Or Alex, you said something and I'm not sure your concerns has been addressed yet. Can you tell us more? What's your concern and how you'll deal it? So that's your role, really to facilitate this healthy conflict, obviously without compromising respect and dignity and all that. As a leader, you need to step up, you see it. So people know that it's a healthy environment, it's perfectly okay to challenge each other, but once the meeting finished, we're all still friends. And as a leader, your role here, facilitate the discussions, and once you feel like everyone heard and there is still some disagreement, you have to step up, finish the conversation, put a time box. Guys, this is the decision, this is what we are doing. That's a very important leadership skill. You have to be being decisive, clear, and making the decisions, not just ongoing discussions and debates. The third component is lack of commitment. When people hasn't heard or they have a different view but couldn't express themselves, they are less likely to commit the decision. And they actually work against the decision almost to prove that I was right, you guys were wrong. Whereas in a highly performing team, regardless of you agree or not, everyone has to commit the decision because that's the decision. That means I have to do my best to prove that I was wrong in the debate because I want this decision to be successfully implemented. That's for team success, not my own success. So this is another important discipline for every team to have, that everyone owns the decision, regardless of it was there or not. And you to make sure, like observing and sensing everyone is there or not, and calling out that it's not there, because otherwise the success will be compromised. The fourth component is the accountability. People who avoid team accountability don't challenge one another, or if there's no trust, people doesn't really challenge each other. Everyone looks to leader that, because leader will keep each person accountable. But in a real efficient team environment, everybody will keep each other accountable. I'm doing my piece, you are not doing that. If you don't do it, we all will be failing. I really want you to do this. So regardless of leaders in the room or not, that should be there. And this is hard thing to achieve without a very, very strong trust within the team, without a very, very good commitment from everyone through the decisions. So you have to do all the foundational parts of the pyramid first to achieve this. And that's a real like a major or kind of a way of showing the quality of a team. Yes, this is going to a high performing team, because people not avoiding conversations, hard discussions, and not allowing failure. Actually, nobody's accepting low standards within this team, because everyone wants best results. And the last but not least is inattention to the team objectives. So people work for their own goals instead of the team goal. People don't pull together to succeed. So this is what happens, or people not even clear what is the shared goals here, what is the success will look like, so that everybody still going on the same direction, still testing, am I on the right direction or not? So this is why this comes and making it very, very clear up front. This is what we are doing, and this is what I'm expecting. And there are lots of information about this model. There is a book you can buy very cheap online or anywhere by Patrick Leonsin's name as the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Read it. It's like a novel base telling what's the leader's role and how a high-performing team looks like, and lots of advice around it. So probably it's enough for me at this stage to share the basics of it. There is an assessment about this model. So you get your team, it's an online assessment. It doesn't ask how is the trust, it has some other questions, and those answers tells the trust level as well as conflict and others. Then you see the picture of your team. This is where we are. You got green, amber, red, depending on the range you are. And then you start discussing with your team. Okay, let's talk about what's missing here. What are we doing next? Like for trust, when we started, I have to establish a monthly session, people to share our own stuff-ups. And when you say Nat, 35 years of experience, actually 35 years of experience means a lot of mess ups and stuff-ups and scars on me. And you to be being open, honest, and sharing those things will start opening up other people as well. And you see that how people avoiding actually to show that. Like some people say it's so irrelevant stuff like, I'm not good at painting. Look, nothing to do with your role. Tell me things you are really struggling doing your job, your weaknesses. Obviously, if the trust is not there, people very, very unwillingly. So you have to work a lot on that. It will not happen overnight. But once you put the right focus, you to be role model, it will come up. And when that come up, the other things will start happening. And as you measure yourself, every 3 months, 6 months, you will see the progress. I'll stop here for further discussions on this topic.